My name is Emily Hart, and I used to believe in fairy tales. Not just the kind from childhood books, but the ones women like me carry in our hearts far past the age of reason. The fantasy that love is enough. That if you give your whole heart, someone will protect it like treasure. That loyalty is sacred. I met Daniel McAllister when I was 26 and working as a junior marketing manager for a fashion startup in downtown Chicago. I lived alone in a fifth-floor apartment in a century-old building that creaked in the winter and overheated in the summer. He was my new upstairs neighbor, freshly moved in from Seattle after taking a job as a senior architect for a boutique firm. He offered to help carry my groceries up the stairs when the elevator was out. That moment changed my life. He was tall, effortlessly handsome in a quiet kind of way, and had this soothing baritone voice that made you feel like everything would be okay. Within a week, we had our first coffee. Within a month, we were inseparable. Within a year, we were married. People said we were the golden couple. He designed beautiful buildings. I designed beautiful campaigns. We looked like something out of a magazine. Polished. Perfect. But perfect doesn't last. It started with the little things. Missed dinners. Canceled weekend plans. Work emergencies that didn't quite add up. He changed passwords on devices he once left open. He started locking drawers in his office at home. He said I was being paranoid. "You know I love you," he said every time I brought it up. "Stop letting your imagination run wild." I tried to believe him. I really did. Until the night of the accident. It was January. A bitter, gray Chicago evening. The kind where snow clings to the windows and traffic moves at a crawl. I had stayed late at work finishing a pitch for a client and decided to take an Uber home instead of driving. But as I crossed the street outside our office building, a delivery van spun out of control on black ice. I don't remember the impact. Just the scream of tires and a bone-crushing noise that felt like it ripped the world apart. Then darkness. I woke up in the ER. Dazed. Hurting. Broken. "You're lucky to be alive," the nurse said. I had a fractured pelvis, 2 broken ribs, and a concussion. My bag had been thrown yards away, phone shattered. All I had was my name, and eventually, they called Daniel. I waited for him to rush in. I waited an hour. Then 2. Then 4. He didn't come. When the nurse tried again, she returned with a strange expression. He said he's away for work. In Portland. I blinked. That wasn't true. I had seen his dry-cleaned suit for a local meeting that morning. His work bag had been on the kitchen counter. I felt something sharp pierce through the fog of pain. Not physical. Something deeper. He was lying. When he finally showed up the next morning, I was alone in my hospital room staring out the window at the falling snow. He walked in with a coffee and a bouquet of tulips. "Emily," he said softly. "God, you scared me." I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just stared. "Portland?" I asked. He hesitated. A flicker of something crossed his face. "The meeting ran late." "I'm sorry. But that wasn't the truth. And I knew it." 2 weeks later, after I was discharged and confined to bed rest at home. The drawer. He left for the gym one morning and forgot to lock it. It was the one he always kept in his home office. Said it was for client files. Inside, I found a stack of letters, emails, photos. Her name was Claire Benton. She was a junior designer at his firm. The first letter was dated a year ago. You make me feel seen, loved, like I matter. I felt my stomach twist. The next morning, Emily woke up with a pounding heart. The silence in the bedroom wasn't peaceful anymore, it was heavy. That note still sat in her hand like a burning truth. She stared at the ceiling for a long time, her mind playing scenes like a movie, her wedding day, the laughter, the vows. I will love you forever, in sickness and in health. Lies, every single word. And yet, she didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, Emily stood up, walked to the bathroom mirror, and stared at herself. Her reflection was tired, yes, but underneath the swelling in her eyes was something else. Something cold. Something rising. Resolve. That day, she called in sick to work. She wasn't ready to tell anyone, not yet. But she started preparing. Quietly. Methodically. If Adam thought he had broken her, he was about to find out how much he had underestimated the woman he married. The first thing Emily did was dig. Literally. She went into the attic and pulled out the dusty box labeled tax stuff and random files, Adam's domain. In it were old documents, house repair receipts, warranty papers, and bank statements. Lots of them. She lined them all on the kitchen table and started piecing things together like a detective. What she found shocked her. There were withdrawals from a joint account she didn't even know existed. Thousands spent in boutiques, hotels, and restaurants in cities she'd never been to. One particular transaction caught her eye, a $2,300 charge at a luxury spa in Charleston on her birthday. She hadn't even received flowers that day. He'd claimed he was traveling for a client. Emily snapped a photo of the receipt on her phone. 3 days later, she drove to Adam's office during lunch hours. Wearing black sunglasses and a long beige trench coat, she watched from her car as a tall, glossy-haired woman in red heels stepped out of the building, laughing. It was her. The woman from the photo in his drawer. Emily's heart thudded in her chest as she snapped a picture through the windshield. She watched as Adam walked out seconds later and kissed the woman on the cheek. Then they got into her car. Emily's car. It was all the confirmation she needed. Over the next week, Emily didn't sleep much. By day, she smiled through meetings at work. At night, she gathered her evidence. Photos, bank statements, hotel reservations. Everything was meticulously organized in a red file folder labeled June Project. She wasn't going to scream. She wasn't going to beg. No, she was going to let Adam destroy himself. But first, she had to protect herself. She met with a divorce attorney. Quietly. She froze the joint accounts. She took screenshots of every chat, photo, and calendar entry he'd left on the iPad they shared. She even visited a locksmith. On Friday evening, Emily cooked Adam's favorite, garlic butter steak with roasted rosemary potatoes and sautéed spinach. She lit candles. poured red wine, wore the sapphire earrings he gave her on their... When Adam walked in, his jaw dropped. "This is unexpected," he said, placing his briefcase down. She smiled. "I thought we should celebrate. We've been distant lately." He didn't suspect a thing. In fact, he was extra affectionate. Maybe guilt made him generous. He complimented her dress, asked about her day, laughed at her jokes. And when he went to the kitchen to grab more wine, Emily dropped the red folder on the dining table. He froze. "What's this?" he asked slowly. "Just a little something I put together," she said sweetly, sipping her wine. He flipped open the folder. His face turned white. Bank statements, photos, the hotel receipts, the message from her phone. Everything was laid out. "You followed me?" he stammered. Emily tilted her head. "No. You left a trail. I just stopped ignoring it." Adam sank into the chair, rubbing his forehead. "Emily, it's not what it looks like." She cut him off. "Don't insult me further. It's exactly what it looks like." Emily stood up. "The locks will be changed in the morning. Your things are packed in the guest room. The attorney will be in touch next week." Adam looked up, stunned. "You're serious?" She nodded. "Dead serious. You broke this. But I'm going to build something better without you." She walked away, leaving him staring at the damning folder. For the first time in years, Emily felt free. After Adam left that night, face pale, pride shattered, Emily sat alone at the dinner table, wine still half full. Her hands trembled not from regret, but from release. She had ended a lie that had eaten away at her for months, maybe years. Now came the hardest part, starting over. In the days that followed, word spread. First among Adam's colleagues, then, slowly, the whispers trickled into Emily's neighborhood. She didn't speak. She didn't explain. Let them wonder. Let Adam do the explaining for once. Her attorney moved fast. The financial records she'd collected had teeth. Adam's affair might have been personal, but the hidden accounts? Illegal. He tried to plead, to reason. Even cried. But Emily no longer saw him as a man. Just a mirror of betrayal she had finally shattered. Emily switched jobs. Moved cities. She chose a quiet lakeside town where no one knew her name, where she could breathe without questions or pity. Each morning, she took walks along the shore. She picked up photography, capturing sunrises, flowers in bloom, the way fog kissed the surface of still water. Life was finally hers. She started a blog, anonymous at first, titled Her Silent Comeback. It chronicled not just heartbreak, but rebirth. Each post reached thousands of readers. Especially women. Especially those who had been ignored, overlooked, and silenced. One day, as Emily sipped coffee by the window, she received a message from a woman named Mira. "I read your blog. Your story feels like mine. Can I talk to you?" They spoke for hours. Mira had also endured betrayal. But she was still stuck, unsure how to move. Emily told her what no one had told her. You don't need permission to begin again. You just need belief. From that call, an idea sparked. Emily launched a small online circle for women like Mira, a safe space to share, support, and stand tall again. She named it the Ember Club, because even when a flame dies, an ember can still reignite a fire. Within 6 months, it had over 100 members. By the end of the year, over 10,000. Emily, the invisible wife, the forgotten daughter, was now a voice for thousands. One rainy evening, nearly 2 years later, Emily received a knock at her door. It was Adam. He looked tired, older, lost. Emily, he said softly, eyes scanning her new life, I heard what you've built. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. She didn't move. Just stared. Do you remember, she finally said, how small I felt, standing beside you? He nodded slowly. You taught me something important, she continued. That silence can be more powerful than shouting. A long pause passed. Goodbye, Adam. She closed the door. Months after closing the door on Adam, Emily found herself standing on a very different threshold, the entrance to a grand auditorium. The Ember Club had gone global. She was no longer just a writer behind a screen, she was now a name, a symbol, and tonight, she was the keynote speaker at a women's empowerment summit in New York City. A woman who had once been invisible was now standing in front of thousands, eyes, cameras, hearts all fixed on her. She took the stage with a calm grace. 2 years ago, I was a silent woman in a noisy world. I wasn't heard, not because I lacked a voice, but because I gave my volume to others who never deserved it. But silence can be a seed. And when you plant it in pain, and water it with purpose, it grows into power. Thunderous applause erupted. Tears flowed. Emily smiled. Behind the curtains, Mira, her first mentee, now a core team member of the Ember Club, watched with a fixed smile. But something had changed. Mira had started to feel overshadowed. She had helped build the community, but Emily got the spotlight. She wanted more. She wanted it all. One evening, Emily's inbox exploded. False accusations. Fabricated financial misuse reports. An anonymous blog post questioning her integrity. The source? Mira. Emily was stunned. Not just by the betrayal, but by how easily people turned when whispers replaced truth. Her sponsors paused deals. Followers demanded answers. The press circled like wolves. For a moment, Emily felt that old wound of invisibility. Would she disappear again? She didn't beg. She didn't break. Emily gathered receipts, messages, and timelines. She held a live stream, calm, clear, and devastatingly honest. I built this not for fame, but for every woman who felt like I once did. Small, ignored, invisible. And no shadow, not even one cast by someone I once mentored, will ever hide my truth. The audience roared in support. Her name trended worldwide that night. Sponsors returned. Her followers doubled. And Mira? She faded into the very shadows she tried to throw over Emily. Emily published her first book. The Day I Spoke Back, a memoir of pain, power, and the journey from overlooked to unforgettable. It became a bestseller. She didn't seek revenge anymore. Because the best revenge wasn't destruction. It was becoming everything they said she could never be. They'll remember your silence when you finally speak. Just make sure your words carry the weight of all the times they didn't listen.